said their petition told the court will compel the justice minister and others to produce the living body of Ibrahim Sharif. Prior to the petition, the government lawyers recently dropped criminal charges against the defendant Sharif while in prison, but without the knowledge of his lawyers. The defendant was arrested in September this year by agents of the National Security Agency on allegation of plotting to unseat the military government in Guinea. He was charged with multiple offenses ranging from armed insurrection, criminal facilitation, criminal conspiracy, and criminal solicitation, among others. Several health workers from different parts of Montserrat and nearby counties have petitioned the national legislature for increment in salary and other benefits. Presenting the petition on behalf of the group, Dr. Joey Kekula called on the government to prioritize the improvement in health workers' salary and benefits. According to Dr. Kekula, the communication to increase health workers' salaries in the 2025 budget is aimed at improving the living standard of the workers, indicating their commitment to provide professional health services to the country is cardinal. He noted that the current salary of health workers do not reflect the evolving responsibility, skills, and critical role that they play, especially in times of public health crisis. Dr. Kekula urged the government through the Ministry of Health to make full employment of some health workers who are volunteering. He threatened a go slow if nothing is done by the Boakakun administration to address their concern. Receiving their petition, Grand Cape County Senator Dadba Vapala assured the health workers of the Senate's commitment to supporting Liberia health sector. She said the 2025 budget will be observed critically to allocate support to the health sector. Officials of Liberia Agriculture Commodity Regulatory Authority this week prevented an illegal cocoa exportation operation at Liberation Cocoa Warehouse in Johnsonville Township. Authorities intercepted a 44 container being covertly loaded with cocoa beans, which were allegedly intended for unauthorized export. The Deputy Director for Operations and Technical Services at LACRA, Godia Gonagoli, revealed that LACRA inspectors had visited the Liberation Cocoa Warehouse owned by Sheki Toure multiple times in recent months. Each time, he said they were informed that no business activities were taking place at the warehouse, and the owner was reportedly unavailable. This pattern continued until November 11th raid, which confirmed suspicion of unauthorized activity. Goningoli emphasized that the Liberation Cocoa Warehouse is not registered with LACRA as an authorized cocoa exporter, raising serious concern about compliance and industry regulations. The authorities are expected to pursue legal action against those involved in the operation as LACRA intensifies its efforts to safeguard the cocoa sector. The Liberia Medicine and Health Product Regulatory Authority have successfully drafted 8 new regulations and are currently reviewing the Authorities Act of 2010 for potential amendments. The week-long drafting and revision took place in Buchanan-Grand-Bassa County. At the commencement of the drafting and revision, LMHRA Managing Director Dr. Luke Bao underscored the importance of updating the existing act, noting that several critical areas were overlooked in the 2010 legislation. He emphasized the need for revision to reflect new regulatory roles and align with international best practices and pharmaceutical regulation standards. Dr. Bao pointed out that various issues not addressed in the current act, including the decentralization of the authorities' operations across Liberia, the establishment of roles for the Deputy Managing Director and directors, enhancement of the Quality Control Laboratory, and other administrative and regulatory matters. Dr. Mark Nepe, LMHRA Programs and Planning Coordinator, provided an overview of the retreat, highlighting the objective of drafting new pharmaceutical regulations to ensure LMHRA maintains modern policies for regulating medicines and health products in Liberia. Montserrat County District 10 Representative Yeke Koliba has alleged a plot within the Senate to remove Senate Pro Tem Yombly Kanga Lawrence. Speaking at a press conference in Monrovia, the District 10 lawmaker revealed that a resolution to oust Madam Pro Tem Yombly Kanga Lawrence has already garnered the signature of 17 senators. According to Representative Koliba, the covert move to unseat the Senate Pro Tem comes amid broader efforts aimed at destabilizing the legislative leadership. He said he has reliable information that 17 senators have already signed a resolution to remove Yombly Kanga Lawrence. The alleged plot to oust Senator Lawrence follows a similar attempt in the House of Representatives, where efforts have been made to remove House Speaker Fonati Kofa. Koliba suggested that the removal campaign might be a part of broader strategy to shift power dynamics within the legislature, orchestrated by certain political factions looking to consolidate their influence. And away from Liberia, BBC is reporting it will be difficult to try to predict the decisions that United States President-elect Donald Trump will make when he returns to the White House. 8 years ago, the Obama government was working with the African Union to change United Nations rules for funding peacekeepers to put African missions on a firm financial basis. The UN, that's the AU mission, or AU Commission, worked with the UN and other multilateral organizations to construct an African peace and security architecture that ranged from protective diplomacy to avert looming conflicts through coordinated mediation efforts and peacekeeping operations, all underpinned by norms and principles enshrined in the UN Charter and the AU Constitutive Act. Plans for more robust peacekeeping evaporated in the transition to the first Trump administration. Since then, no new United Nations or African Union peacekeeping missions have been authorized. According to the BBC, several, including in Darfur, Sudan, and Mali, have been closed and others scaled down. Russia has reportedly sent up to 200 troops to Equatorial Guinea to protect the presidency as it continues to expand its presence in Africa. Media reports say Russians are training elite guides in the country's two main cities, the capital Malabo and Bata. Reports of Russian troops deployed in the country first surfaced in August. Russia, which has been seeking to gain more influence in Africa, has in recent years sent thousands of mercenaries to West and Central Africa to protect military regimes and help them fight insurgents. Reuters news agency quoted sources as saying that between 100 and 200 Russians were estimated to have arrived in the past 2 months. It said some were likely to be part of the coup in Africa, a paramilitary force previously known as Wagner, before being renamed and officially coming under Russian military control.
Sam, aren't you with the news bulletin? The news bulletin is a regular feature on King's Newsroom. And if you're just joining us, a reminder that you're listening to King's Newsroom, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. But let's remind you of stories we're following this evening. Information reaching the station reveals that a Guinean national identified as Ibrahim Khalif Sharif, who attempted to overthrow the military junta in Guinea, has allegedly been executed after his mysterious disappearance, according to his legal counsel, Cabinet Janet. The Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs has dismissed 3 employees in connection with an investigation conducted by the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission into an alleged payroll pardon under the supplementary payroll scheme. Also in the news, at least 3 members of the executive branch of government on Tuesday appeared before the anti-Kofa bloc amidst intense political struggle at the House of Representatives. And away from Liberia, BBC says it will be difficult to predict the decision that the United States President-elect Donald Trump will make when he returns to the White House. These are stories we're following this morning. But let's take a very short break. When we come back, we'll bring you the real voices behind the news. So, pardon me, this evening, welcome back. On this one now, an information reaching King's event has revealed that a Guinean national identified as Ibrahim Khalif Sheri has allegedly been executed after he was turned over to the Guinean military junta in Guinea by the government of Liberia, according to his legal team, Councillor Cabinet Janin, former Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of Liberia. According to Councillor Janin, said his client was removed from the Monrovia Central Prison on November 3rd, Sunday morning, at about 4 o'clock a.m. They have not been able to know his whereabouts, thereby accusing Police Inspector General Gregory Coleman and Solicitor General of Liberia of being responsible to provide his client. The renowned Liberian lawyer has frowned at the decision by the government of Liberia to have released Sharif to the military junta without following the due process in relation to the extradition treaty between the two countries.
As far as we are concerned, in the custody of the Inspector General of Police, along with the Solicitor General, who unfortunately, since they kidnapped him from the prison, Monrovia Central Prison, on March 3rd, Sunday morning, between 3 and 4 a.m., we have not been able to know his whereabouts. What we are hearing from some reliable sources is that he has been killed. That's what we are hearing. Since they removed him from Monrovia Central Prison, he has been in the custody of the Inspector General of Police and the Solicitor General, both of the Ministry of Justice. And we are told, and that's why they cannot, with all the orders issued by the court, which committed Mr. Sherry to prison, all efforts at getting the police to bring him bodily so that we can speak with him as his counsel, Councilor Serena Seafors and myself, are proving futile. And this is the information we are getting, that he was taken across and handed down to the military junta of Guinea, a government there that is notorious for killing opponents, and he was killed. As far as we are concerned, have blood on its hands. Well, we have his family people here who contacted me when his house, Mr. Sherry's house, was raided and his belongings taken away during the raid. A raid that was carried out without any warrant, of course, the usual thing.
Former Associate Justice Cabinet Janin. The Ministry of Transport has announced that inspection of vehicles and railroads beginning today, Wednesday, calling for collaboration from vehicles owners throughout the pending exercise. To this inspection is being carried out by the Transport Ministry alongside the Liberian National Fire Service and the Liberian National Police. The move is a planned biannual exercise by the government to renew licenses of vehicles while also establishing whether they are roadworthy. According to Deputy Transport Minister for Land and Road, Zunu Doyan, the inspection will cover vehicles, railroads, as well as related traffic issues. Minister Doyan also said the pending inspection seeks to establish roadworthiness of vehicles in an effort to reduce tidal wave of vehicular accidents occurring mostly in Monrovia and its suburbs. Meanwhile, the ministry has disclosed plans for the introduction of an automated lessons plant regulated ALPR. The new technology, according to the Transport Ministry, will create feasible inspection options, thereby enhancing the work of the ministry.
Inspection by grace of God. But we'd like to also clear some that there are some rumors around that the Minister of Transport is doing this on her own. So we want to make that very clear that the Minister of Transport are working on all of collaborative teams, all of stakeholders. Let's take, for example, the Liberia National Fire Service and the Liberia Revenue Authority. We have been on this from time to time because it is obvious that we can all own our own. So our inspection will be starting tomorrow. But we have another good news. Now the concern is, what is the good news? The good news is we realize oftentimes when we have an inspection, people go through a lot of constraints. whether you are in compliance or not, you go through the same constraint. So what are we doing at the Ministry of Transport? We are thinking outside the box. How are we thinking outside the box? We have decided to bring in what we call the automated license plate recognition, ALPR. That is to say, instead of asking an individual to produce a driver license, the vehicle registration, the insurance, and all those stuff, no. So very soon the Ministry of Transport will no longer have a huge congestion during inspection.
Zono Doyan, Deputy Minister for Road and Rail at the Ministry of Transport. Korea and Liberia have signed a memorandum of understanding to enhance development cooperation in Liberia. According to Information Minister Jeremy McPia, in June of this year, President Joseph Boakai joined his Korean counterpart and all African leaders in Seoul, South Korea, for the Korean Africa Summit. Minister Piat also added that the summit further noted that the government of South Korea and several African countries foster discussions in which member countries of that summit will collaborate on developmental initiative. He noted that South Korea has come a long way when it comes to development and is therefore reaching out to other African nations to lend hands. He emphasized that last week the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in collaboration with the government of Korea Agency for Cultural Exchange, celebrated 60 years of Liberia-Korea relations and partnership.
Countries or leaders discuss ways in which we can cooperate on development issues. Korea has come far and has made a leap forward. Today, the country is an economic powerhouse in Asia and is expanding its footprints across the world, including here in Africa, to share its expertise on how to become a development success story. During the last week, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs hosted the ceremony in collaboration with the government of Korea Agency for Cultural Exchange, where they celebrated 60 years of Korea-Liberia friendship and relations.
Information Minister Jerry Lemekpia. The Director of Program Planning and Technical Services at the Water Sanitation and Hygiene Commission, Prince Krepler, has accused Mr. Josh Yanko, the Chief Executive Officer of WASH, of alleged corruption. Speaking with journalists at a press conference in Monrovia on Tuesday, Prince disclosed that there has been continuous corruption of the commission since the inception of Yanko as CEO of WASH. He accused Josh Yanko of using two important staffers to carry out the alleged act of corruption over thousands of United States dollars, adding that Josh has started carrying out procurement, corruption, and political witch hunt against people who have been perceived to be supporting different political parties. Meanwhile, Prince Kripler has further disclosed that he has officially written to the Liberian Anti-Corruption Commission following the alleged corruption scandal at Water Sanitation and Hygiene Commission. He noted that after making frantic efforts at senior staff meetings to checkmate the corruption scandal at the institution, Josh Yanko, the Chief Executive Officer of WASH, has refused to listen and conform to the public finance management law.
Basis for me being here and calling you members of the press is that there have been, since the inception of Mr. George W.K. Yanko as Chief Executive Officer of the National WASH Commission, there have been systemic corruption at the Commission. And that process, well designed, orchestrated by the Chief Executive Officer himself, using two important staffs, the manager for HR and the role of the director for administration. Those are the two important staff that he has in mind, or he been using. And how is he using those positions to carry on procurement, corruption, and political witch hunt against people who are perceived to be from different political backgrounds other than that of the ruling Unity Party. Immediately, Mr. Yango took over. He came with a barrage of Unity partisans who I know personally are very qualified, technically competent, because they work with the then Ellen Johnson Sirleaf administration with the Minister of Public Works then, Kofi Woods. They were technical members of the WASH committee, the National Water Sanitation and Hygiene Promotion Committee that was hosted by Public Works. It is that committee now that has been transitioned into the National WASH Commission to do regulatory responsibility. He came with at least 4 of those individuals. But because Mr. Yango has this syndicate in place to still using human processes, rather than fighting to employ those people, he first fought to employ his human resource manager and then remove the administration and finance director who he inherited and then asked that same lady to act in the position of administration and finance. What is the rationale behind that? Human resource manager employment is within your scope. Mr. Yango now will use that to ensure that all political opponents are removed from the commission. Then as the director of administration and finance, you have procurement under you, you have HR under you, you have IT services under you. All the administrative related roles are under that person's supervision. So the same human resource person who he been working with for a long time from public work that he brought over, who he employed first, leaving all the technical staff, is that person he's now using to carry on his procurement and employment related corruption at the entity.
Prince Kripler of the WASH Commission. The Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs has dismissed 3 employees in connection with an investigation conducted by the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission into alleged payroll padding under the Supplementary Payroll Scheme. Following a thorough review of the LDCC's findings, which included interviews, collection of statements, and analysis of financial records, the ministry has taken punitive actions on the following employees. Those dismissed as Lamini Sharp, Director for Budget and Finance, Anthony Harris B. Sando, Financial Controller, and Mohammed S. Kurman, Assistant Minister for Human Resources. They were dismissed due to breaches of government regulations and resulted in the misuse of public funds. However, Mr. James Y. Tucker, Deputy Finance Controller, has been exonerated of his involvement in the scheme and has been subsequently reinstated. The actions reflect the ministry's commitment to transparency, ethical governance, and protecting public resources. According to an executive mansion release, the Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs remains dedicated to upholding public trust and safeguarding Liberia's resources. Further reforms are being instituted to prevent and further reoccurrence of such incidents. Several health workers from different parts of Monserrado and nearby counties have petitioned the National Legislature for increment in salaries and other benefits. Presented a petition on behalf of the group, Dr. Joa Kekulat called on the Liberian government to prioritize the improvement in health workers' salaries and benefits. According to Dr. Kekula, the communication to increase health workers' salaries in the 2025 national budget is aimed at improving the living standards of the workers, indicating their commitment to provide professional health services to the country, which is cardinal. It further added that the current salaries of health workers do not reflect that involving responsibility, skills, and the critical role they play, especially in times of public health crisis. The spokesperson of the Health Worker Association, Dr. Joa Kekula, however, urged the government through the Ministry of Health to make full employment of some of the health workers who are volunteering within the sector. He threatened to go slow if nothing is done by the Boakakun administration to address their concerns.
And motivation of hard worker. The disparity in low salary and compensation of hard worker contribute to low morale, financial stress, and in some cases the exodus of skilled professionals seeking better opportunities elsewhere. We have, in endeavor to communicate our concern through various channels, yet our call for reform had not yielded the necessary action. Therefore, we strongly urge the legislature to ensure that the 2025 budget captures the reclassification policy for her workers as well as provision that ensure the employment of our colleagues volunteering at the various facilities. Failure to address the issue might result in unavoidable action, including strike, which will severely impact healthcare deliveries across Liberia. We are committed to our duty and to the health of the nation, but we cannot continue to work under the current inequitable conditions. Especially, we respectfully request a meeting with you in no less than 5 days to discuss the matter further and to work towards a resolution that supports our dedicated health workers and ensure the continual provision of quality healthcare services in Liberia. We hope this communication remains their attention as well as in future swift response.
Dr. Kekula. Receiving the petition, Grand Cape County Senator Dapan Vaplat assured the health workers of the Senate commitment to supporting the Liberian health sector. Senator Vaplat added that the 2025 national budget will be observed critically to allot adequate support to the health sector. The Grand Cape County Senator then applauded the group for the petition and assured them of delivering the petition to the Senate Pro Tem Yobli Kanka Lawrence.
The case today, we just told them that we have deferred it to Thursday. So, one or two questions from this leadership, witness the public hearing, I want to follow up on issues that were supposed to be addressed under the budget, how far they are, including the voluntary health worker, including disbursement to county health facilities, including all other issues within the health sector, and the plan going forward to the next budget, so that we can have a full understanding of some of the key issues in the council, integrating the budget, to make sure that these things are secure within the budget. I am not promising you that one budget year can huge needs in the sector. However, we believe that with small baby steps, incrementally, we can handle large amount of the issues within the sector. Instead of coming budget year, before the budget year, we have a choice and we have to hear it. And we'll look at some of these things. I will present it to the September election comes, the committee will be informed of your petition. Like I mentioned, we may not be able to take fully the policy and implement it in one budget year. And we had that discussion. The policy itself with small incremental efforts. So we will look at that working with the finance and budget committee and see what is possible.
Senator of Grand Cape County, Fapla, speaking there. Monserrate County District 10 Representative Yeke Koluwa has alleged a secret plot within the Liberian Senate to remove Senate Pro Tem Yobli Kanka Lawrence from her leadership position. Speaking at a press conference on Capitol Hill on Monday, the District 10 lawmaker revealed that a resolution to oust Matan Kanka Lawrence has already gathered the signatures of 17 senators. According to Representative Koluwa, this covert move to unseat the Senate Pro Tem comes amid broader efforts aimed at destabilizing the legislative leadership. He stressed that he has reliable information that 17 senators have already signed a resolution to remove Senate Pro Tem Lawrence, he declared during a press conference. The alleged plot to oust Senator Lawrence follows a similar attempt in the House of Representatives, where efforts have been made to unseat House Speaker Councillor Funati Kofa. Koluwa suggested that the removal of campaign might be part of a broader strategy to shift power dynamics within the legislature, orchestrated by certain political factions looking to consolidate their influence.
Let me tell you something today. You remember the thing I come and tell you today. The senators, 17 senators have signed resolution to remove Yomli Kanga, that other embarrassment on our list. Let me just name a few. You get Prince Moy on our list. You get James Barney, that reckless drunk on our own spoon last night. That I go sit down to Marisha and get drunk. He was drunk last night. He said he's going to law school. That no one knew what.
Maserati County Senator Yeke Calabar. Amidst political tension at the House of Representatives, 3 officials of the executive branch of government on Tuesday appeared before the anti-Kofa Black to address what is cardinal issues at their various institutions. Those who appeared before the majority of Black include Mo Ali, Managing Director of the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation, Francis Numalin, Internal Affairs Minister, and Salif Tyler, Transport Minister. The anti-Kofa Black recently summoned 3 executives to address major concerns raised about their institutions, including LWSC Ministry of Transport's alleged involvement of bribery among members of the anti-Kofa Bloc. Internal Affairs Minister Francis Numalin, during the Tuesday's appearance, explained what is considered inadequacies with the local government setup. At the same time, both Transport Minister Salif Tyler and Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation Managing Director Mo Ali addressed their alleged involvement with bribery among lawmakers for the removal of Hospital Fonatit Kofa. Here is Transport Minister Salif Tyler.
You see what I said? Jota Baka can be former president. This is a precedent case that will come into.
Honorable members of the legislature, I received a letter from this body inquiring about alleged bribe to the legislature for the removal of the speaker. That allegation that was purported on social media I saw from the LACC is false, it's misleading, it's misinformation, and it's disinformation. The Ministry of Transport adhere to PFM laws, IAA audits and IAA operations, and we are supported by the Ministry of Finance. The ministry has 3 accounts, 1 USD and 2 Liberian dollars account. What we did was we wrote the
Transport Minister Salif Tado. Well, folks, on that note, this I would like to go home on this presentation of Newsbroom. Newsbroom is a 45-minute news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and our one world. But just before we go home, let's remind you of stories we've been following. Information reaching the station reveals that a Guinean national identified as Ibrahim Khalif Sharif, who attempted to overthrow the military junta in Guinea, has allegedly been executed after his mysterious disappearance, according to his legal counsel cabinet Janet. The Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs had dismissed 3 employees in connection with an investigation conducted by the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission into an alleged payroll pardon under the supplementary payroll scheme. Also in the news this evening, at least 3 members of the executive branch of government on Tuesday appeared before the anti-Kofa Black amidst intense political struggle at the House of Representatives. And away from Liberia, BBC says it will be difficult to predict the decisions that United States President-elect Donald Trump will make when he returns to the White House. These are stories we've been following on Newsbroom. Sam Andrews brought us the news bulletin. On behalf of the entire production, I would like to say many thanks to all of our reporters and correspondents who helped in making this package of sources. On behalf of the entire team, my name is Newton Tukwa. Have a pleasant good evening. Thanks for watching and listening.
You want music?
Then get music right now on Kings 88.5
FM.
When somebody tells you all FM stations are the same, they haven't been listening. 88.5 FM is totally different. That's why true music lovers make a big switch. And because you have a winner taste, 88.5 FM